Hello. Could everyone please give me a shout out if you're tuning in right now, just so we can see, check that you can see and hear me. Yep, great. So I'm going to start off with a few shout outs again at the start. So if you let me know where you're listening from, we've got Abby, we've got Callum, Ella. Let me know where you're listening from as well. It'd be great to know where everyone's tuning in from. And it'd also be great to know if anyone has started any community initiatives of their own. With the fourth episode of Business Keeps on Dancing today, it's all around community and how you can use your skills and resources as a business to help some of us out. So has anyone ran their own initiatives? If you've got any links, feel free to send them in the comments. Or is anyone thinking of starting an initiative and maybe doesn't know where to start, or they've got a few questions to ask to our panel today? Let us know in the chat and we'll keep an eye out on the questions. We've got some people from South Africa, we've got the French Alps, Bristol, Madrid, Dublin, and I'm here in sunny Liverpool, so I'm glad everyone's been able to come together and join in today. So keep your questions coming as well. And what we're going to do is try and answer some of them in our community Facebook group after the webinar's done. So yeah, keep sending them in the chat if you've got anything in mind. And we've also got a few polls in the chat section to get some feedback on the best way that we can deliver the webinars for you. So keep an eye in the chat section, and there should be some polls popping up shortly. And yeah, it'd be great to hear some of your feedback in the webinars. So for those of you who maybe not joined us before, my name is Sean. I'm head of music and events at Mustard Media, and we are a festival and events accelerator. So recently we created Business Keeps on Dancing to bring together different industry leaders and different event owners that and event marketers that we're connected with, and we want to discuss how to build successful brands. But today's focus is all around community. And what we wanted to do with it being focused on community is actually give something back to our own community as well, and everyone who's been tuning in so far. So today we want to give away a free prize to a lucky listener. We've had loads of questions in around different challenges that you've been facing, and would really like to try and help out. So over at Mustard Media, we've been creating some new online workshops which are focused on quick problem solving and idea generation to help brands keep growing. So we want to give one away for free today for someone who's for a lucky listener who's tuning in. So all you need to do is just take a photo. If you're watching the webinar now, if you could just take a photo of your screen, no matter where you're tuning in from, just take a photo. If you upload that to your Instagram story and just tag us at Business Keeps on Dancing, we'll pick a winner later this week. So pretty simple and should be quite a good prize. So so yeah. So moving on to today's panel, I'm super excited to welcome our guest speakers for today. So we've got Sacha Lord, who is Managing Director of Warehouse Project and PARKLIFE Festival, and he is also the Nighttime Economy Advisor for Greater Manchester. So recently, Sacha has played a huge role in setting up the United We Stream initiative, which we're going to find out a bit more about today. We've got Sean Keyes, who is the lead for Manchester and the North at Twitter, and he's also been working alongside Sacha on United We Stream. And then we've got Nelson Beaumontlaurencia, and he is head of events and sponsorship at CITYCO, and he's recently co-founded Events For COVID-19, which we are going to find some more information about later in the webinar. So a huge thanks to our speakers for coming on today, because I'm sure they've been super busy with their own businesses and companies, as well as the fundraising initiatives that they've been involved in. And today's topic is all about how your business can use its skills or resources to benefit the community. So many people tuning in today have probably got access to a huge variety of different skills and resources of their own, no matter how big or small. Unfortunately, with the way that circumstances are, people do have a bit more spare capacity than what they would usually have. But what we want to discuss today is how they could use those skills and resources for the greater good. So it could be something as simple as offering your time. I think there's a lot of questions for people to think about before they think of running a community initiative. So we want to try and help give you as many practical tips and different takeaways that you can go go away and use on your own campaigns as well. I think recently, it's just been amazing to see how all these different people have pulled together to help others out, and there's been some really amazing innovation from different companies who've switched up their production to produce PPE, or kitchens who've offered free meals for the homeless. I think there's so many different knock-on effects from this situation right now, that there's a lot of people out there that need to be helped. But not everyone can maybe do the larger scale things of changing their production, or producing meals for thousands of people. So today we want to hear a bit more about the amazing initiatives that our panel have been involved in, including United We Stream and Events For COVID-19. And we want to find out some more best practice, some tips and takeaways for you guys to use as well, which would hopefully be helpful. So I think helping people out is a reward in itself. It's great to help others out, but I think one really important point is that at the business end of things, there's benefits to helping other people out for your brand and the long-term reputation of your company, and ultimately this could have an impact on your future sales. The way that companies and businesses have responded to this crisis in a positive way, it's really felt like a defining moment, and I think it's something that we'll all remember for decades to come. And a lot of companies do talk around having a social purpose and a set of values that they follow, and now is the time to really put that into practice to help the wider community. And many of you watching today will be operating in the events and the nighttime industry. Many of your consumers may actually be younger audiences who are often the most socially conscious consumer group. And recently we've witnessed quite a big rise in social responsibility across the board in the entertainment industry. In the past 12 months, there's been such a big rise in environmental sustainability efforts, and consumers are really looking out for that in the brands that they deal with. So I think it's important for businesses not only to just help the community, because that's what's needed right now, but there's definitely an element of responsibility for some businesses out there to use their skills to help others as well. To back this up, there was a recent report from McKinsey that actually stated 9 in 10 Gen Z consumers believe companies have a responsibility to actually address social issues. And Kantar also supported that in their recent study, which revealed 75% of consumers stated that brands should be informing the public around their efforts to combat the issues that are at hand at the moment. So if you've not thought about how your business can help out those in need in society and your wider community, then today's the day. Hopefully we can help you with some tips around that with our speakers today. So first off, we're going to go to Sacha Lord. So thank you very much for joining us today, Sash. How is it going? And let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Hey, Sash, how's it going?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Obviously, you didn't learn that off by heart. You read something. I was really impressed with that.
I all off by heart. I had it on the back of my hand.
So look, just before we kick off, you promised, Sean and I have always had this rivalry regarding football, and you asked me not to mention it, but just for the record, I'm hearing that the Premier League will return in June, but they'll play behind closed doors. And obviously Liverpool will win this season, but there will always be a doubt over whether it's an actual wheel. It's not, there'll always be an asterisk. It was that season, it was never really a full season.
Oh,
have your moment of glory, but it's not real.
Do you know what? I'll take it. If it's 19 with an asterisk, I'll take it for sure. Means we can get closer to you, and I'll have even more banter to throw your way. But usually when we do speak, it is mostly about football banter. But rivalries aside, today we're here to speak about all of the great work that you've been doing in recent weeks. So to give you a quick intro to our viewers, Sacha is the co-founder and managing director of both PARKLIFE, which is the UK's biggest metropolitan music festival. I've been pretty much every year, and I've had the chance to DJ there as well. And also with Warehouse Project, which is one of the biggest event series in the world. And if you weren't busy enough, Sash, you've also added the Nighttime Economy Advisor for Greater Manchester to your CV, and you've been doing some incredible work across the city to make sure Manchester's nighttime economy is one of the best in Europe, if not the world, and is continuing to grow. So recently, you started up a new initiative in Manchester called United We Stream, and you've been working with multiple partners across the city to deliver this. So for anyone who's not checked it out so far, United We Stream has been delivering broadcasts with loads of different entertainment for people to tune into. So you've had pub quizzes, poetry, live music performances, live cooking shows. I think that just recently this weekend you had all of the Manchester classic DJ sets, which I thought was great. I could go on. There's so much entertainment that you've been providing, but the most important part is that the donations have actually been helping support the nighttime economy and the cultural organisations and different charities in Greater Manchester who really need the help to survive in the coming months. So huge congrats to all of the team so far. Looking at all of the reaction online, you've really done Manchester proud, and I think that the reaction's been great. So I've been admiring from the other side of the M62. So I'd love to hear more about that today. And a lot of the people tuning in today will really want to try and use their skills or their resources in some way to help others in the time of need, but they might not know where to start out. So how did you actually land on the idea for United We Stream?
No, I'll tell you exactly how it started off. So I'm in a WhatsApp group with other night advisors across the world, and it's everywhere from Australia to Los Angeles. I think there's about 38 of us in total. But United We Stream was actually born in Berlin. So a guy called Lutz set it up, and he said, look, so all the nightclubs are shut at the moment. And what we do know about people in Berlin is from the age of being stuck in a nappy to the age of being stuck in a coffin, you're into techno music. That's it. You're not into anything else. It's just techno music.
Yeah.
So he set this thing up in Tresor, and he did it in Berghain and a few other clubs. And the idea was to stream it to people who are missing the techno music, but it's completely free of charge. The party's free. We were saying to people, look, if you can donate €1, €2, €3, please, towards it, the money will go back to help people who are really struggling at the moment in the nighttime economy. And there are so many hidden people that we don't necessarily think about, people that clean the clubs at the end of the night, the lighting engineers, the techies, some DJs. There are so many people that the government actually doing a really bad job at helping at the moment. They've fallen through the cracks. So I said to Lutz, can we do this in Greater Manchester? And he said, yeah, go ahead. We'll fully support it. And we set it up. It's only been going for 3 weekends now, and we've had 4.7 million people view it. Wow. And in terms of funds, I don't want to announce it until the end of the month, but we're well into the 6 figures now. And that money's been going to go, we're cutting through all the red tape. There's going to be no council nonsense. We're literally just going to be giving it straight out to people that really need it. And what's different to us is we are trying to entertain as many people as possible. I think the pinnacle was probably the Hacienda event we did 2 weeks ago, where 1.5 million people tuned in.
Yeah.
At one moment, we crashed the website. It was, we just couldn't believe it. But we are, as you say, we're having cooking programs. We've had Manchester nights, poetry, all sorts of different things. Tonight's live music, live bands. Tomorrow, Funkademia, which is funk and disco. So we're trying to cater for everybody. And, it's really, there's so many people that have thanked us for doing it, for entertaining. But actually, so we set it up to entertain, but now the police are saying, you know what, we've just realised this is the biggest platform at helping people stay home, because we always end off with the hashtag stay home. And that actually came about because I know you're going to interview him after me, but Sean from Twitter saw what we were doing, and they really kindly have got behind this. They put some money behind promoting it, which has really helped us. And they're the ones who are really driving home the stay home campaign. And we've agreed to put that at the end of every single tweet. So we've seen house parties going down now across Greater Manchester, and the police actually believe it's because we're delivering entertainment. So it's working on so many different levels that we didn't expect to begin with.
That's great. It sounds like you've really took inspiration from other cities and other countries, and then also working with Sean to get further inspiration. And I think a big thing right now is just about collaborating and just connecting with new people and seeing what other people are doing and taking that inspiration from there.
It is. And outside of this, so obviously I'm a Manc. I'm always going to talk about Greater Manchester because that's, I'm supposed to be the advisor for Greater Manchester. But what I can tell you a completely personal level, personal experience, there are so many amazing people who are coming out of this. I had a call 3 weeks ago from Greater Manchester Police to say they're running out of hand sanitizer. So I just mentioned on Twitter, has anyone got any spare hand sanitizer knocking around? And Didsbury Gin, obviously alcohol is a major component of hand sanitizers. They stopped production and they turned the production to making hand sanitizer. And they completely sorted out the issue for the Greater Manchester Police. They then came back and said, okay, well, we need hotel rooms because there are 50 police officers that just deal with COVID cases and they can't go back to the families or anything. So we've got free hotel rooms for them now. There's a restaurant in Chorlton that's run by somebody called Mary Ellen. And she teamed up with someone called Corinne Bell. And now they've approached all the restaurants and said, look, you've got loads of stock that's going out of date. Give us your free stock. Have you got any chefs going spare, any volunteers? And they're supplying 6,000 meals a week for the most vulnerable people across our city region. The Ivy are creating 3,000 meals a week for the ambulance service. Yourselves, most of the media, have set up this Events COVID-19 thing. I mean, it's great. And I actually think good is going to come out of this because I think going into this, for me personally, I think this country was very, and I know I've seen there are other countries looking at this, but England, Britain was extremely divided and it was a very angry country. And we know the reasons why over Brexit. And I think this is going to bring people closer together and hopefully kinder as well. Now, I know when I go for my daily run, people are acknowledging you and waving, or dog walkers are waving at you. And it's really nice to see when, it's good to see we're all coming together.
Yeah. I think the simple things now are what everyone appreciates. It's
simple. And I think also what's really good for me personally now is people are starting to talk about recovery. This is the next big thing. So, I have been tasked from yesterday now to create a hospitality COVID-19 recovery task force, which has been put together today as we speak. So it's how are we going to react when, my gut feeling is mid-May, third week in May, we'll be able to return to the office in some way. There'll be skeleton staff, but in some way we'll be able to do that. Hospitality will come at the very end, but I think restaurants will be first because you can prove you can self-isolate with tables, dividing, slightly harder for bars, and obviously larger scale events like the arena and festivals will come at the very end. But it's nice that we're now seeing light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's about the word recovery is what we've been thinking about as well. It's about being really proactive, not going dark at this time, doing whatever you can do to help others in the community, but also proactively planning for how you as a business can come out of this. So it's great to hear everything you've got going on over there as well. So with United We Stream, it's a crazy schedule of so many different talents and so many different performers that you've brought together. For the people tuning in today, what went behind that before the first stream went live? Like what details did you have to plan out for this success?
So the biggest issue is actually streaming and people moving around. So a lot of the stuff that you see is generated from home, probably 40% of it. But there's a lot of tech behind it. So I spoke with our mayor, Andy Burnham, and said, look, we need somewhere where we can base it. And luckily for us, we have a theatre that's, obviously all theatres are shut at the moment, but they've given us a theatre in Bury called the Met, and that's where all the tech is based. And a lot of the artists that you're seeing performing, obviously still social distancing, but they're on the stage at the Met, and we've got a nice screen behind it. And also the artists that are moving around now, because we're seen as entertaining the city region, and we're seen as reiterating the message, stay home. So when those artists are moving around, we're now key workers. Which is, that's great as well. So look, I'm not one to talk about tech. I'm absolutely useless. I'm amazed. I've learned how to Zoom in the last 3-4 weeks. I don't even know how I'm on this. And I know you're laughing, but you and Rob know how bad I am when it comes to tech. But yeah, it's the team are phenomenal, and with absolutely everything I do, whether it's Warehouse Project, whether it's PARKLIFE, whether it's United We Stream, whether it's advising the mayor, they always wheel me on because I'm the one that can speak a bit. But actually, what's more important is always a solid team right behind me. You know, they're the ones that make it happen with my business partners, Sam and Rich. And, you know, I can mention the whole, I am actually sat in the office today because I had to come in because I can't fix my printer up at home. So I had to do some printing, but with everything, it's a strong, solid team. They're the ones that make this happen, not me. I'm the person that speaks about it.
Yeah. And how many people have been involved so far in making it happen? I
think there's probably a solid team of 15 people in the background making this happen.
Wow.
And driving them all mental. Absolutely mental. And it's hard because some of them work for the mayor's office, so they're not used to this kind of thing. And yeah, so it's really interesting. They're loving it. They think it's great.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for everyone. I mean, you know, even us doing the webinars, we've had to kind of teach ourselves new skills, and I think what will come out of it is better people. And of course, you couldn't do all of this on your own. I know you've mentioned all of the different people that you've collaborated with, but the reach has been incredible so far, and you've got the message out to so many people in such a short space of time. How did you amplify this message, not only to Manchester, but it seems like the rest of the world is tuning in as well?
So I think what happened was, so the first weekend, we actually started with Salado, but it was sort of a soft launch because there was such a complicated tech side in the background that we didn't know whether it was going to be a success. In all honesty, we didn't know if anyone would tune in or if anybody would even bother donating. And I think what happened was the following weekend we had the Hacienda event. There was an all-day party. It was 12 hours. And you'll know yourself, because you're a DJ as well, and a good one. You'll know that sometimes when you put events on, things align, and it's not, things just happen for a reason. So I think that Saturday, it was a 12-hour party. It was the Hacienda that everybody loves across Manchester. It's something we still speak about now. We had international artists like Todd Terry, Roger Sanchez, David Morales. It was a bank holiday. It was the most perfect weather. And we were at the end of a pretty shitty week of constant bad news that was coming out. We're at the peak of the doom and gloom. So I think everything aligned, and just that one day, everybody sat in the garden and thought, you know what? I'm not going to watch the news. I'm going to sit, I'm going to look at my laptop, and we're just going to have an absolute party. 1.5 million tuned in.
Wow.
And I can tell you, you know, I'll be honest with you, I was getting so excited, and I had a few glasses of wine. And at 8:30, I was like, I need some more money. I want more money. I want more money donating. They're not donating enough. I was getting really annoyed. I ran upstairs and I put my I Love Manchester hoodie on. And I was like, guys, donate. We want more money. We want more money. And you know what? I was hammered when I did that. And the next day when I woke up, I had to check my phone. I was like, oh my God, did I actually do that? I did it. I managed to style it out. It was a good party, but you know, that's what gave all eyes on United We Stream, and the coverage we had on the back of it, Sky News, BBC, it's worldwide. It's been phenomenal. It really has. But what's really nice, Sean, was in my mind, it would kind of end at lockdown.
Yeah,
that would be the end of United We Stream, and it's not just about the big name DJs. You know, tonight tonight's curated by Scruff of the Neck, which is loads of local Manchester live bands. And we've been talking about it, all the people behind the scenes, and it would kind of be strange now to stop it.
Yeah.
So I think, again, you'll know as a DJ or an artist or a band, to actually get onto that next level or be seen, you need a little bit of luck. Mm-hmm. You have to have that luck.
Yeah.
And there's so much amazing hidden talent across the city region. And I know that because I get so many emails and so many texts, and so every time I get in the back of a taxi, oh, what do you do for a living? I explain. I'm like, oh, I wish I'd just said I work for Vodafone, because they all know the DJs, and that's the end of the ride for me. But we are going to lead this platform now as a legacy. United We Stream will give the opportunity for many people now who are bedroom DJs or bands that rehearse in the mum and dad's garage. It's their opportunity now to shine their talent across the city region. And of course, now the world are looking. We get loads of people from Japan, weirdly, who are watching. I don't understand why. But so yeah, it's going to be a legacy. And we've got one of our developers in the centre of Manchester who actually built Spinning Fields. He's given us free of charge a purpose-built recording studio for 2 years free of charge. So there are kids out there who would never be able to dream of being able to pay the rent for a recording studio. So they've now got this opportunity. So, you know, once it's over and we've raised the money and we've given it out, there's now a platform to find more hidden talents. And it's something that we're kind of really proud about. And we've been given the full support of our Mayor's office, Andy Burnham, which is a real rarity. You know, he's loving it. You know, he's on those nights, and especially that Hacienda night, I can tell you now, he had a hangover there.
It's dangerous, isn't it? Watching live streams when you're in the house and you've got your whole alcohol cupboard right next to you.
Yeah. So
it's great to hear that you've set out to help the nighttime economy who are struggling, but you've had this secondary benefit of being given this platform for artists who, you know, this is an important time for a lot of development of artists. And I know from Lauren as well, you know, she had so many amazing gigs lined up, and it's just about I think a lot of people might think, oh, I can't help the NHS, so maybe I can't help. But there's many different ways and many different people that have been affected by this that you can help in, no matter how big or small a way.
You can. And you know what? Some people will be thinking, there is nothing I can actually do. But everybody can. And the main thing is stay home. If you just stay home, you are helping the NHS. You're supporting the NHS.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know whether we come to the end of this, but I want to send out a positive note, because we are talking about recovery now. And I think, you know, we're through I'm hoping we're through the peak. And, you know, when we are through this, and the time's not right now, because I think we all have to be supporting what the governments are doing. But I think they're in for a real kicking when we're through this, because they've not supported the nighttime economy. They've not supported the hospitality industry. There are so many people who are skint right now. There's so many people who were earning a good wage and now on universal credit. They called the lockdown far too late. They didn't have PPE when they should have done. They've not had the testing kits. They've run a bit of a crap show, really, to be honest, haven't they?
Yeah.
So I think when we're through this, let's help them, but there will be time to dissect it. And it's not going to be a very pretty ride for them either. I really don't think. Yeah,
totally agree. And what have your biggest learnings been so far? To imagine setting up such a huge fundraising effort such as this does come with its challenges. So what have been your learnings, and are there any roadblocks that you've had to overcome that could maybe help?
Yeah. So when you are dealing with local authorities, there's a lot of red tape. So what I do now is, rather than going through the red tape, I tweet it so that it's out in the open, and then they will say, what have you just said that for? So well, I'm done here now. But
that's one way to get people to listen to, yeah.
Pardon?
That's one way to get people to listen to, yeah.
That's it, yeah, you just do it to cut through it. But no, I think the hardest bit, so we cobbled it together in 3 days, and really we should have stepped back and taken a little bit more time. But you know what I'm like, Sean, we've worked together, and when I get a bee in my bonnet about doing something, I want to be the first ones out there. And I was hearing as well other people starting to do streaming things, which is great, and I really support that. But I wanted Greater Manchester to be at the forefront of it, and you know, I'm delighted that it looks to be that way.
Yeah. And can you give us any sneak peeks into what's in store next for United We Stream?
We have a massive thing that's lined up, actually. We have a huge thing, and it was supposed to happen last Sunday, and it didn't happen because the artist said something he wasn't supposed to say. This is really random, this. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but yeah, there is something that's it's going to be like my Ariana Grande kind of moment. It's up on that level.
Wow.
But we have some amazing, you know, there's another Hacienda night coming up on the 9th of May, which is going to be superb. It's an all-day party. There's so much coming in the pipeline. And what's really weird as well is, because you know I'm not a booker at all. Sam and Rich do that. So I am well out of my comfort zone at the moment. But after that first weekend, people were phoning me saying, we want to be part of this, we want to get involved. And it's really nice to see it. And not one artist is getting paid for this. They're all doing it free of charge. And even if they're driving to the Met to do it, they don't ask for petrol money or anything like that. And it's so kind to see. It really is. And I would say to everybody, when we're through this, all the kind people, and I've got to give a shout out to, you know, Mustard Media and Sean from Twitter, and I mentioned Disby Gin and the IB, and all those people we mustn't forget. when we're through this and when lockdown's finished and everything's up and running, you have to support those businesses that supported us to get through this. That is a really, really big moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really interesting to see how something as simple as a tweet can actually get your message out there. And that's the way that you've been able to reach out to get all these resources to help different people. So
yeah, but you know what? I have to be really careful now, because you're remembering the good old days. I used to really dick about on Twitter and take the piss out of people and have fun. I can't do that now. There are serious people following me, and I sit there and I think, should I tweet this? And then somebody taught me something that I will now, I always think about. If you have to think about putting a tweet out, don't do it. Really, you know, I can get myself into so much trouble. You can probably drop me in it straight away with so many stories you know about.
I'll save them for later. Depends how far the football banter goes. Thank you so much for your insights, Sash. It's been incredible hearing about all of the things you've been up to, and if you've got any links or anything that you'd like us to push out to everyone who's tuning in today,
I would. Yeah, I just, you know, please reiterate, log on. We're trying to create entertainment every single weekend. We're open some Thursdays, we are on tonight, but every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're creating fun for you. Go on the website. It's unitedwestream.co.uk. And do you know what? I know everybody's having a really crappy, hard time at the moment. I know that. So watch it for free. But if you can donate £1, £2, £3, anything, if your mum and dad's are minted, throw 20 quid in. Just helping so many people. It's going to such a great cause. And it's really appreciated.
Oh, thanks, Ash. I'll be tuning in for sure.
Thank you, Sean.
So we're going to go over to Sean Keyes now from, I saw that flag coming out. I've got a clock mask as well. That's my my mate for today. So thanks for taking the time to join us, Sean. How's it going with your everything on your end at Twitter?
Yeah, good. This is my ninth week working from home. So I think I finally got into some kind of sense of a routine. So yeah, just kind of trying to stick to a routine and trying to get plenty of sleep.
Yeah. And so you're the lead in Manchester and the North at Twitter, and you've been working really closely with Sacha on United We Stream. So it'd be great to hear all about Twitter's partnership on that and what support you've been able to provide for the campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work as part of the team based here in Manchester. We have an office in Spinningfields. But as Sash said, I saw one of his tweets and read up more about United We Stream, and it just seemed like such a great initiative. As you know, music is such a big part of the culture here in Manchester, so we wanted to try and help any way we could. And then I guess to echo what Sash said, it's obviously a big team of people behind this. I reached out to my other team members in London, Reese Brown, who heads up our entertainment team, Marco in comms, Nick, my colleague here in Manchester. And essentially we set up a call, reached out to Sacha, had a call the following day, and basically listened to him and just offered our support. And that's how it came about.
Nice. And if any of our viewers today are thinking of setting up their own initiative or thinking of ways that they can try and help out, how can they do that through Twitter? And are there any best practices that you can provide for people who are tuning in today?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the things that we helped Sacha with was around live streaming with Periscope. Is probably all aware, the Twitter live streaming app. We actually gave some support to United We Stream with Twitter Media Studio. Mm-hmm. So for anybody who wants that extra step with that extra functionality, studio.twitter.com is a resource where people can like put in live feeds, and it's a bit more technical. And that's what United We Stream have been using. But for everyone else, you're able to use Periscope straight from the Twitter app. Click to create a tweet, click the camera button, and you'll have the live option. And one of the pro tips I would say is when you click live, you'll see there's an option to invite people. So you can click people and invite your followers. But absolutely, I think it's a great free resource, and I think it's a great way to get that message out there. And it's all about communicating. And as you've seen with Sacha, where just communicating on Twitter or any other platform helps start that conversation, and great things can come from those conversations.
I think that's what Twitter is built for, conversation. I think it's quite easy to go on social media and things like Twitter and just kind of push out content and messages in a one-way sense. But I think Twitter is the place that you can, you know, start that conversation. You can use hashtags, you can engage with other people talking about the same issues or the same topics that you are as well. So I think I definitely encourage people to check out some of those resources to use Twitter for their own campaigns. So today we've had some great examples of businesses who pulled together to help others in our webinar today. Have you worked on any other campaigns or any other successful initiatives that have been helping their wider communities?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple I want to call out. We've worked closely with Lonely Not Alone, which is a charity as part of the Co-op Foundation, and they have an initiative to try and improve youth loneliness, which you know, it's obviously a growing issue and a growing concern, but obviously around lockdown has obviously come back to the forefront. They had an amazing campaign where there was all around. They found when people are lonely, youth, especially youths when they're lonely, that they look at the floor, they don't make eye contact. So their campaign was all around encouraging people to wear yellow socks. So when people looking down, it might be a teacher or a social worker or you know, a friend, or they'll see that there's someone they can talk to, and that other people might also be feeling that. So a really simple activation, having those yellow socks, really helped that. And we supported them in terms of Twitter best practice. We actually held a training day with other charities around that. So that was really good. I'd also want to kind of shout out to Co-op, you know, obviously a great northern company, a company that I work with, and they do, you know, obviously giving and community is a big part of their DNA. They have the big community PR campaigns each year, which is great because if you shop at Co-op, you can then choose to where that money goes to. It's great for, you know, to getting funds into local initiatives. And you've probably seen the most recent campaign around local heroes, where they had the TV advert with all the people dialing in onto the kind of Zoom and GChat. And that was in partnership with Fair Share UK. And what Fair Share UK do is they want to try and alleviate hunger by the repurposing of in-date food. So I think it's really great. I think it taps into the environment and about trying to, you know, prevent wastage, but also try and helping people when they most need it. But there'll be some examples of campaigns where I think they've launched campaigns on Twitter, or they use Twitter to extend that conversation and have conversations beyond their initial campaign. Yeah,
that's great. If you've got any links to some of those campaigns, feel free to send them over to me, and I can share them with everyone in the group later.
Absolutely.
And for anyone who's tuning in today, are there any resources from Twitter out there for those people to access if they're thinking of using the platform to spread the message around their own initiatives?
Yeah, absolutely. Twitter's great. Our teams in London and around the world are great at providing a huge amount of resources. A first stop I would recommend is the Twitter marketing @handle. And I can share with you the Twitter handle for that. They also have David Wilding, our head of planning in London, has created Couch Conference. So if you search #Couch Conference, every Thursday there's a live stream. It's at 10 a.m. and you can see the other episodes where they'll touch upon a certain topic each week. And it's a great resource for people to learn more about Twitter, learn about how brands are acting and reacting given the circumstances. But yeah, we can share all these links as well. We've got like the Twitter, so there's the Twitter marketing blog on the back of the Twitter handle, blog.twitter.com. And when it comes to the live aspects, you can look at studio.twitter.com and also media.twitter.com, which give you a huge amount of information from the live streaming, content, best practices. And I think they're really good resources. But absolutely, follow Twitter Marketing UK on Twitter, and they have constantly good examples, case studies, to help you get started.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for that, Sean. And we'll send those links into our Facebook group later today.
Thank you.
So Nelson, thank you for taking the time to join us today. How's it going on your end? Let me know if you can hear me.
You got me? Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can.
This is my third laptop today. It's been interesting to set up, but yeah, really happy to be here. And some sort of a international audience as well. I was looking at China, Barcelona. Wow. Cool.
Yeah, it's great to see.
Let's do
So
it.
I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to anyone who's not come across you before. So you are head of events and sponsorship at CITYCO. Since you joined CITYCO, what you do is a lot of work in and around Manchester City Centre, and you deliver and collaborate on a load of different events to drive footfall into the city centre. So some of you may have heard of celebrations such as Halloween in the city. You've got the Chinese New Year events, Manchester Student Social, and the UK's only urban gardening festival, Dig the City, which after spending a few weeks in lockdown and doing quite a lot of gardening myself, I think that sounds up my street. So I'll have to find out a bit more information about that one. So yeah, you've been doing some amazing work over at CITYCO for Manchester, but recently what you've teamed up on is a new initiative called Events for COVID-19. So that is a new network of event organisers and different suppliers in the northwest of England who are pooling their resources together to help with requests from hospitals and local governments and charities and anyone who really needs help right now to fight coronavirus. So I've heard amazing things about the initiative from our MD Rob, who also helped to set it up with you. And so far, you've already got some huge companies involved supporting. So Sash and the Warehouse Project team are fully behind the Manchester International Festival, the From the Fields group. So it seems like the response has been great so far. So congrats on getting this set up and all of the great so far. And a huge well done for bringing so many different partners together in such a short space of time. I'm sure you've got, you're very busy with CITYCO and Manchester Bid. So imagine to kind of take out the time to actually set this up as well has been a big task. So how did the idea come about?
Yeah, so yeah, thanks for the intro. I mean, the idea is just really, it comes from what's happened. This wasn't supposed to, in an ideal world, this initiative wouldn't happen, but at CITYCO, we really saw the city centre kind of closing down in slow motion for 2 weeks. And, we're really connected with every single business you can think about, from big to small, restaurant, bars, everyone. So we've got that connection. As it kind of closed down, we started seeing quite a lot of an increase of requests from charities and the local government in terms of supporting vulnerable people. Which is, to be honest, a lot of people probably haven't realized this, but the first thing you see in a situation like this, which we've never experienced before, is it's not necessarily people rushing to hospitals. It's actually vulnerable people not having access to the normal facilities they would do. So there was a huge increase, and I think it was like the last weekend of March. Can't believe it's been that long. But basically, I was thinking about all these requests, and I was speaking to one of my friends who's in the event industry back in Portugal, and he was telling me, we were just discussing the situation, and he was telling me about this incredible initiative called Events for COVID, started by him and a couple of pals, which is basically really simple, just a collective of, event professionals trying to do the best they can to support the health system, and loads of charities trying to kind of do the best they can within this situation. And it just clicked like that. I was basically saying, wow, okay, well, I could be doing the same. So I've just said, hold on, let me go and call someone I know. So that's what happened. I literally just thought, okay, so I've got logistics ops. I'm really well connected in the city centre through CITYCO and Manchester Bid. I need someone who's got more kind of that, marketing, PR, creative, etc. And I just thought, that's it, Rob Mustard Media. Sorry, mate, I was exploiting you when I thought of you, but yeah. So I basically just thought, spoke to Rob, gave him a call, and you know what, within 5 minutes, I knew it was the right person to call. He was literally saying, let's do this. This is absolutely right. We're in the same industry. So yeah, the first week was a massive blur, because it was just we didn't really had a plan. We were trying to be reactive. So we just pulled our networks pretty much within 2 days, had a WhatsApp group, contacted our really close networks that we, people we really trust to test it, I guess. Twitter, cheers Twitter. Yeah, that was our first kind of point to kind of try and get some sort of a public platform for us to talk about what we were doing. And yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was basically using a pool of resources to kind of support so many requests.
Nice. And why did you choose Twitter to get the message out there?
Well, the most important thing at the beginning was to reach the kind of the B2B. Yeah. And I think that was our because obviously this is works in phases. The first thing we needed really is the full kind of B2B side to be joining this force, because if you're thinking there's a huge increase in requests for help, if you got too many requests and you haven't got a really good solid base of people who can really help, not just one or two people from the same industry, but actually really varied and many people from let's say equipment hire, you can't have just one person in that pool. Ideally you've got 5 to 10. So if multiple requests become a trend within that area, there's a collaboration there, so one person can't be strained, because the reality is most the event industry is stopped for now. So it's really tough for a lot of these people, and it's incredible to see what they're doing. So yeah, really proud to see. Yeah, incredible work.
And you've worked with a range of different event organisers, as we've just mentioned. What types of skills can people offer? Because I think one question that may be on many people's minds is, what can I offer? Is it my time? Is it my equipment? Is it my my skills in say marketing or any of that stuff? Like how big or small, and what are those resources and skills that people can offer to help?
Yeah, well, in a situation like this, everyone has a skill. I know this is quite a generic way to start, but we can all help. And I could be quite generic, but I think I need to go specifics more about what I knew my skills were and my network was. We pretty much knew that in the event sector, as you know as well, is that, we know the skills are all there. I mean, within all our suppliers, we could build a city and run it, because we've got project managers, we've got freelancers. And the reality is the event industry was made for a crisis. We in a way, we things are changing all the time. When you plan an event, the reality is 100% of that is, out of 100%, 80 will, if you're lucky, 80 will happen, and there's going to be some switches there. So we're used to react to changes, and we don't stress about it. We just deal with it. That's it. We're a solution-based group. So in terms of, if I was to talk to you a little bit about what does our members at Events for COVID-19 looks like, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, we've got private medical companies, security, a man in a van chap who I do a lot of work with sometimes, so really small companies to the big kind of Buddha, events, a load of equipment. You could literally build 4 or 5 festivals. So, through radio suppliers, florists, freelancers, web designers, we've got a website now. Go and check it out. But basically, we needed that, part of the process. And this is all about people trying to help. Marketers, we need people to be able to promote so people can find us. And the thing is, you can't really shy away from anyone who offers you help, because the reality is, you never know what the next request is. This is all people in crisis. We've had all sorts of requests from, initially I thought what we're going to be asked for is the big stuff, like a huge marquee and then starting building with beds. And, this was the initial thought. But actually we get all sorts of questions. Open Kitchen Manchester, Mary Ellen and chefs. I mean, they're cooking for so many people, as Sacha was saying earlier. What happens is, as you starting to upscale, more people, obviously more vulnerable people need your support. We've got more NHS staff coming to Manchester because of the hospital. You need to have that happening. So we had to provide more freezers. So that was a great, and I never thought that would be straight away what we needed. But then we got contacted by hospices to get some, I think it was iPads, because a lot of people, a lot of patients haven't got that access with their family. So they were saying, could you potentially provide some iPads so we can speak to our loved ones? I mean, that's just brilliant. You know, you need to be in that situation to actually start to understand. So yeah, all skills become really useful. It's just waiting for that request sometimes to come in and activate that.
Yeah. And I think what you've just mentioned there, collaboration is just so important to get these things off the ground. So you've worked with so many different people that have so many different skills, and they've managed to help people in ways that you probably don't imagine. Like that iPad story is just, that's great to see. Something so simple as that can actually help people connect with their family in tough times such as this. Have you got any tips for anyone tuning in about how to actually bring people together and how to collaborate and use their networks around them?
Yeah. I mean, collaboration, we're made of, you know, Events for COVID-19 is a collaboration. You know, this is a volunteering initiative. As I was saying earlier, you know, the event industry will kind of stop now in the fact that commercially we're not moving forward, but we're definitely moving forward, you know, together to try and help. So I think in terms of collaboration, I think you've just got to surround yourself, as a piece of advice, you've just got to surround yourself with the networks you know. You've just got to make sure that that's just the first thing that you do, is just making sure you surround with the networks you have, and then just finding out exactly what kind of support is needed. You know, you've got to pin out what the problem is, so you can then work out with those networks. You've got to be really honest as well. You know, if you're asking people to come and join you on something, you have to kind of lay out some you know, that, you know, there is in our case, in our group, we're basically saying, you know, no commitment, no expectations, but if you can help, come forward and tell us what you can do. And I think the collaboration has been some really good examples within our group, is the fact that when we get requested, so for example, let me think about 27 beds for a refuge in Manchester, which was one of our biggest requests. I was thinking, I've actually, for an event, I've never had to source beds. That's just something I don't know. But then you've got beds, so then you've got mattresses, then you need the transport. It's not something that's delivered by one person. So everything is a collaboration, really. And sometimes there's a lot of like bed sheets, never had to deal with that, but someone knows someone. So I think it was John Drake basically just saying, oh, I know this chap from Loft. And then someone, so eventually we always get to solutions. So the collaboration is super important. I think a point to mention is, what kind of platform can you use to make sure the collaboration happens? I think that's probably a good one in terms of a tool. Yeah. So you've got all these people that can collaborate. I think we started a WhatsApp group. It might sound a bit silly, but that actually was the best way to do it, because that's a really good way to create some sort of a community feel. And I think people feel like they can reach to each other, and there's like all the chat going on. Sometimes can be quite unproductive because there's too much chat, but I mean, there needs to be some sort of like, we need to make some allowances. So I think WhatsApp has been really good, and there's other ways, other measures you can put in place to manage information, I guess. But yeah, I hope I've answered the question. I don't know.
No, that's great. I think it's something as simple as picking up a phone, because I think someone might have the seed of an idea, but think, oh, I haven't really thought it out. You know, I don't really want to put it out there to people if I've not really thought it through. But, you know, just by picking up the phone to people, then you spoke to Rob, and then maybe Rob had some ideas, and then straight you've probably been able to come up with a plan together. So, and then things as simple as WhatsApp, but, you know, just getting loads of ideas in there to get things running. So I think being reactive is such an important thing right now. I think if you just sit on these ideas and really overthink them for too long, you've missed the boat to help people out, and you've kind of missed that opportunity.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to Dan from Mustard the other day. Was saying, you know, do we stop and wait? This was for a request. The thing is, you haven't got time in crisis. You haven't got time to create the perfect scenario, the perfect platform and move forward. I think there's an element of like, once you know you've got that 50 or 60% organized, just go for it.
Yeah.
It's calculated risk. You know, ultimately, what's the worst case scenario? I mean, the worst case scenario is that you can't help. So if you move forward, you're helping. You know,
Yeah.
there is some elements. It's not going to be perfect, but
Yeah.
you're creating a movement. It's just going to happen. You might not be able to fulfill a full request for help, but you might just kick it off. And yeah.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. Give it a try. But what have you got to lose?
Mm.
And I imagine many questions that people might be thinking of is where to start. So do I help locally? Do I help nationally? Do I get involved on a global level? What skills can I offer? What sectors can I help? Am I supporting the NHS and key workers? Am I supporting other businesses and struggling industries? Do I need to support vulnerable people in society whose support networks are no longer there? There's just loads of questions to ask, and I think it's totally unique to each person and what's kind of close to their own community. But from your own experience with getting Events for COVID-19 up and running, have you got any advice on where to start and what that starting point can be for people who are thinking of using their time or resources to help out?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, I was trying to be clever with this one, but I think the most important thing is you've just got to stick to what you know. I think that's super important, including your gut instinct. That's really important. But I think you've got to stick to what you know. I think you've got to who you know as well, because it's not really a time to reinvent new skills. It's not a time to kind of start new networks. This is going back to what we were saying earlier. It's about reacting. You know, it's about people need support now. So just stick to what you know, and obviously get organized as much as you can and make an impact.
Yeah.
There's actually a really good piece by Ben from Proud Events, a piece on I think it was on Standout Mag, which was about his thoughts. He's actually one of our members, and he's actually been working with us on the back end. It's been pretty cool because he's got some really good ideas and amazing experience, obviously. And it's just this idea that people want to help, they don't know how they can help. And I think this big thing is wanting to help the NHS and like these big operations. And the reality is, quite a few of us have the knowledge and the equipment and the services to actually create some of these things, like these big testing centers, hospitals, and all that. But there's not really a clear and it's not plagiarizing. I mean, I'll have to say to Ben, I actually sent him a message before that. I'm going to give you a shout. But basically, I think he's made some really good points there. One of them was, I think we just got to be patient, and we've got to use the right channels if you want to be helping the bigger setups. And I think he did mention, I think I've even made a note, you've got to register on the Crown Commercial Service, and we'll make sure we'll leave a link for this so you can catch up. But basically, that's really the channel where you can be identified by the government and the local government from their procurement teams. Mm-hmm. Once you've got your name in there, they'll come in and they'll get in touch if they need you. So I think that's the best way to do it, because if you're emailing someone, even the hospital in Manchester, it's just not going to work. These people are firefighting. So the thing we found then, if you can't reach these, obviously these organizations, I think you need to be, this is something that we've developed with kind of test and trial through Events for COVID, because we were just waiting for people to go on our website, click on I need help, and then we'll just react whenever we get something. I think we've just changed our tactic a little bit. It's more about creating packages and services. So we've got an amazing team on the background, about 8 people now, and we literally start calling. You know, I think we had a list of 240 care homes to call. And we're just wanting to find out, you know, what kind of support do you need, but also what kind of equipment we've got. Because taking a step back, if you email, which we were email saying, these are my skills and this is all the equipment, people don't understand what that means. They just say, oh, great, you've got marquee, great, you've got radios, great, you've got that. So I think what we have to do is understand their needs and build a package, basically saying we can build a test center, or we can provide a package, as I was saying earlier about these iPads, where we'll create, for each care home, we've got 3 iPads, and they'll be loaded up with Zoom, and this will allow you to use them for training staff, because a lot of people actually in care homes are not prepared for COVID. So they need to be trained, and they need to be trained from a distance. These care homes haven't got the technology. So it's just about creating these packages, finding out what people need, creating a package, and then going back to them. That's probably one of the best things we found out.
And have you faced any challenges so far, and what have been your biggest learnings from running this so far?
I think from if you're starting an initiative like this, some people might be helping in a different way, individually, joining a charity, cooking for Mary Helen or Open Kitchen Manchester. Loads of people doing amazing things. Everything will come with a challenge, even if you're just volunteering on your own. I think starting an initiative is about being solution focused. So you're actually going to find the challenges. So that's a challenge, because you want a challenge, then go for it. But I guess the biggest challenge actually, when we started this, I thought it was actually getting the event industry on board, because I was thinking, look, these guys are not working. I'm not sure how. I know my mate in Portugal was saying, yeah, everyone got on board, but I'm not sure what the circumstances are around here, But you know what? It was not the challenge, because everyone was like, I want this. I want to be part of it. Sign me in, join me in the WhatsApp group. It was just, the response was incredible. These people were just ready to help. The challenges, I think, if I was to choose one, I think it's just managing the beast, which is an initiative. Because when we started, it was just me and Rob saying, oh, okay, first 2-3 days, here's a WhatsApp group. We've got 12 of our networks in there. We'll set up a tweet account, and that, between the two of us, it's manageable. We've got a couple of requests, that's fine. But actually, 4 weeks later, we've got nearly 100 members, suppliers. These are all volunteers, and we've got 8 people working on the background, all amazing. I'm not going to name you all, but basically, you know who you are. They've been amazing. But it's just, as you start getting more suppliers and people that you don't necessarily know, because we are reaching out to people now. People are hearing about us. They want to be part of it. You can't be doing that kind of just a WhatsApp group and just having a Twitter account. We've now got a website. Now we've got to actually create processes behind it. We need to literally have a very kind of slick operation where we're looking after people, we're looking after people's data, we're communicating to all the suppliers in a timely manner. We're keeping everyone updated, because the thing is, there's a danger here. If you're not engaging with people, people stop engaging, and that's a problem. And with the actual people asking for help, if you're taking too long to help them, then that's creating a problem. And it's looking like it's an initiative who wants to help, but they haven't got the right framework to react. So actually, in the last week, we haven't paused, but we slowed down, and we literally brought enough people that we trust and we can work with to work on the back end and make sure we've got the right processes. So it took a full week, and we're working every day on this from morning to evening. It's crazy, but it's amazing. You've got to be passionate to do these things. And I think everyone in it, about 120 of us, we're definitely very driven and very passionate, and we want to help.
That's great. I guess project management is a skill in itself that can be lended to initiatives like this, to make sure you can actually deliver the help that you're actually offering out to people. So that's been so great to hear about everything, Nelson. Congrats on all of the success of it so far, and I hope it goes really well in the next few weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem, Nelson. Thank you so much. So we're going to move on to our Q&A now from our audience. So everyone who's been sending in their questions, thank you. Thank you very much. And we're going to put some of your questions to our panelists. And the first one up will be Sacha. So the first question that we've had in from our audience is a question from Dan. So Dan's asked, if your business can't help directly, how can you actually help communities in any other way? So I guess this is the idea that if you haven't got the resources to be able to provide PPE, or you haven't really got a big enough team or enough resources to help on a larger scale, are there any ways that that Sacha, you think that people can be helping in indirect ways, or how else can people contribute? Can you hear me? I think we might just need to sort Sacha's camera out in the background. So no problem, we can go on to our next question. So Sean, if you're there as well, we can get you on for the second question. Nice one. So this question is from Caesar. So Caesar's asked, how can live streams together with the use of social platforms, how can that help community and their causes to create further engagement and awareness? And I think this is a really good question, and something I'd like to know is, are things like hashtags and challenges, are they the way to go? Like how can people really use social platforms to create that awareness around what they're doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what everyone's touched upon today is I think communication and outreach and discussion. And I think obviously, Twitter's a great platform to do that. And I think, live streaming is just another medium on top of that. I think, yeah, absolutely. All the best practices, around hashtags we'd recommend. But I think also one of my tips would be that often people don't realize that Twitter is, in many ways a search engine. So you can search for Manchester or charity or Manchester plus charity, and you'll be able to quickly see the tweets and the conversations that are taking place around where you are. So I definitely recommend looking at what other people are doing. And again, that could be an opportunity to join in that conversation and support them, or at least get a sense of what other people are doing, or looking maybe where there's a gap or a niche where you want to focus on. So yeah, I think when it comes to live streaming, I think, the great thing about Periscope is that, again, it's free and it's pretty quick, it's instant, and you can have those conversations. And I think that's where it seems that these germs of ideas could grow from, these connections. I think it just helps grow those connections. Great,
thanks, Sean. We're going to go over to our next question, which is from Grace, and this one's for you, Nelson.
Oh.
So Grace has asked, why is it more important than ever to come together as a community across different industries right now? And I think what you've set up is the perfect example of maybe not different industries, but many different types of companies in the same industry. But have you got any tips about how people can partner with other businesses, other companies, and then potentially other industries as well?
Sorry, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear us?
Sorry, yeah, my screen's playing up.
Oh, no problem.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Of course. So Grace's question was, why is it more important than ever to come together as a community across different industries right now?
Okay. I mean, no one's planned for this. I think that's what I need to be. There's not really no one's planned for this, and this is why the community has got to get involved. You read the news, and the reality is the government wasn't prepared. A lot of people weren't prepared. So if we don't act like we're acting, and like obviously Sash and Twitter, it's just at different levels. Just the person around. I know that on my street, someone just left me something 3 weeks ago, just a little slip saying, do you need your food handed over? Or do you need me to shop for you? Or, this is what I mean. You can be helping at loads of different, we're doing this on a slightly bigger scale. Sasha's doing on a huge scale and different, doing different things. And I think it is, you've just got to help whichever way you think you can. I don't think there's like a perfect way to answer this question. I think it's just, look, we're all in this. We know how problematic it is. We have to help. So I'm not sure if this is answering the question, but it's just no one's planned for this. So the community does have to get involved, and you've got to collaborate where you can. So
yeah, no
yes.
one can do it on their own. That's for sure. Thanks, Nelson. I'm going to see if we can quickly get Sacha on. Sacha, if you could still hear us.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So just to go back to Dan's question, if your business can't help directly, how can you help communities in any other way?
I think anybody. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah,
Good. So I think, look, if you don't have a business, you're not part of a business community. As I said before, anybody can do the simplest thing just by staying at home. It's that simple. But this I'm not. I think many people have already answered that question, but I've got 1% left on my battery, so I want to use this in a very positive way. And I just want to say to people, I honestly believe, I know so many people who are suffering at the moment, both financially, but more importantly, mentally as well. This is unprecedented times. We're coming through this. I think we are now through the worst of it, in my honest opinion. I honestly do believe that. We are talking about recovery. We're gearing up. So, I think we have to be positive at this point now. And we are talking about returning to offices in May. I don't know if festivals are going to happen this year. I doubt it. Certainly not during the summer. But we're going to get through this. And one thing's for sure, we're all more bonded. We're going to come back out of this stronger, bigger, bolder. And talk about Greater Manchester alone. We're so resilient. We saw what happened on the back of the bomb in 22nd of May 2017. And that's what's happening again. We are coming together. So I am feeling positive. And I think everybody else should feel positive, because fortunately for me, I'm hearing voices from the top. People are making decisions. And certainly in the last few days, it's turned from negative to now it's sounding like things are starting to happen again. So, I think I should just leave it on that. And thank you for an amazing webinar. It's been fantastic.
Thanks, Ash. A nice positive note to end on. Thank you so much. And then our last question is, and I'll take this question. So, one sec. Yeah. So Ella has asked, she mentioned that as a business, she wants to support communities and give something back. And during the lockdown, especially when people are at home, looking for help and looking for ways to help others. So one question that Ella had is that she really wants to help the community, but it needs to kind of, her business still needs to keep on dancing. She needs to make sure that there's a future for her business and really future-proofing the future of that. So how Ella's question was, and no matter what form it may take, what are the 1 or 2 essential strategies that each company can do to ensure future business and hopefully make sure that customers come back to them? And I alluded to this at the start of the webinar. I think it's so amazing how much help everyone's been giving out, but companies and businesses and freelancers are all facing challenges of their own, and they really, to survive and thrive and make sure they still exist. Sacha mentioned really positively about this recovery period. How can we actually make sure that your business and your company is one that survived that? So I think there's a lot of data out there that supports the idea that customers and consumers really are looking for brands and companies to act in a socially responsible way, and there's loads of data to back up the idea that the brands who do that actually will have a better chance of customers coming back to them in the future. So that's quite clear to see. And I think the brands that have gone out there and done it well, it's been great. They've had loads of press around it. Customers are really behind them, and it's quite likely that those customers are going to come back to them in future. On the flip side, I think if you get it wrong, people will remember that too, and they'll certainly let you know. So I'd say there's 2 main factors to consider if you're thinking of helping the community, but you do want to make sure that you're doing it in the right way and in a way that customers speak really positively of you and come back. So I think the first one is to be authentic and do it for the right reasons. I think if your efforts come across as untrustworthy or they look like a sales pitch in any way, it could really damage your reputation if you try and tag that on the end of a community initiative that you're doing. So don't try and tag on any big marketing messages to it. Just kind of do it for the reason that it needs to be done now, and make that really clear of who you're helping and why you're helping. And one thing I've really enjoyed today is listening to the backstories of why Sacha set up United We Stream, why Nelson and Rob thought it was a great idea to bring different event organisers together, why Sean's got involved as well. Everyone's got a backstory to why that cause means something to them. So tell that and let people know why you're doing it. And I think that's the way it can come across as authentic and that you're doing it for the right reasons. The second thing I'd say to consider is just to know the right tone. And I think one thing I noticed in the early days of the new social distancing measures coming into place, many of the world's biggest companies, the biggest brands out there, were all trying to do something to support it, which is great. And a lot of companies changed their logo to promote social distancing. And initially it was met with a positive response, but not all of the campaigns that did that were met with applause. And McDonald's was actually an example of they separated their famous arches to promote social distancing, which seems great on paper and a nice way to really highlight that campaign. But it was actually met with quite a lot of criticism as people felt like they could have made more of a meaningful contribution, such as free meals for those in need. You know, they've got the restaurants, they've got the supplies, they've a company as big as that has probably got the resources and the cash behind them to do that, rather than just a logo change. But I think what that really highlighted is that they just got the tone wrong and the timing right. The timing wrong on that campaign that they did. So it's about making sure what you're doing is actually helping people with help that they need, and it's not just a kind of a thing to go online and kind of be something that makes your brand look a bit better. It should actually be making a difference in the community at the right time, in the right tone. So yeah, they're two things I'd say to consider with your initiatives if you're thinking of setting those up soon. So I think that takes us to the end of our webinar today. So thanks to all of our panelists who've shared all of their stories about some of the efforts that they've got up and running, and thanks to everyone who's tuned in. And in the background, we've been working really hard to program a load of the upcoming webinars that we've got, and we've got quite a big announcement next week where we've plugged in a whole month's worth of topics and guest speakers. So I'm really excited to announce that. So yeah, keep an eye out next week for that announcement, and please head over to our Facebook group as well. We've got over 100 people in there now, which is great, and we'd really like to keep chatting to you all and seeing if you've got any questions or any of the ways that we can help you out. So the Facebook group is called Business Keeps on Dancing Community. If you search that on Facebook, you should be able to find it, and we'll be in there later today. We've got loads of links of resources from Twitter. We've got links to all of the efforts that Sacha told us about with United We Stream, and Nelson with Events For COVID-19, and any of the resources that we've been using, we'll send in there. Get in touch with us on Instagram at Business Keeps on Dancing. We've got our website at businesskeepsondancing.com if you want to send that to any work friends or colleagues or anyone else that you think we can help with this as well. And if you've got any more questions, feel free to contact me on LinkedIn as well. If you've got anything else that you'd like to discuss. But thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for our next announcement, and we'll see you next week. Bye.